We keep inventing more of them, so there's just so much out there.
The Buzzed Boomer is really good. That one's kind of special. It's got the citra hops and the honey, and I don't know, that was one of the first ones that we made that, I don't know, got us to thinking like maybe we could sell this.
So I work for a small education, evaluation, and research company in town called Romlein et al. It's very much like an office job, looking at data and doing analysis and reporting. So very different from cider making.
I work for a company called Line 45. It's my friend from college started it, and we do software development and GIS work, and he's up in Michigan.
Well, luckily for me, a lot of the cider stuff you can do kind of after hours, like all of our tasting room hours are on nights and weekends, so a lot of times I can be here for at least most of the time with Ben. And then we'll do a lot of the cider making on Sundays when we're closed, kind of blending up the new batches and getting those ready.
It's a lot of, checking in on the social media, a lot of running around back and forth to the cidery, bringing stuff down, moving stuff around, getting stuff ready. The carbonation takes a lot of time and effort. Right now, some of the blending stuff we'll do, and a lot of the cleaning I'll do during the week. Right after on Monday usually is a big cleaning day.
We like to go to the rock climbing gym, but that's been harder to do in the evenings, but we're hoping to pick that up more. Ben does all of our stuff online, so our website and maintaining our social media accounts. And then we both do all the cider making together. I'd say that's at least my favorite part of it, and probably Ben's too. So we both love to do the pressing of the apples and blending up the different recipes and working together, kind of tasting them. Like, do you like this, or do we need to add a little more of something? And then I'm more specialized on like the paperwork and the finance part, and I think that's just due to our different backgrounds. But I'd say we do everything mostly 50-50. And Ben makes all the playlists. So if you like the music, it's Ben. If you don't like it, tell me. I'll tell Ben. One day our dog, who's kind of a crotchety old man dog, went to curl up next to me, and when he lied down, he kind of growled, and I thought, well, aren't you a friendly beast? And then we both are like, friendly beast, that could work. And then we were also trying to think of a name, like in the process, that we could use for like some kind of branding or carry a theme throughout. And so we thought going with beasts or animals lended itself well to artwork and naming ideas. And our friend that does all the artwork for us, she's really great with animals and drawing them and different themes. So we thought that name would also play well for her to do some great designs. Well, we definitely want to keep growing the business and be able to keep it open. Since it's our first year, it's so hard to know like how much cider we're going to be able to sell, what the seasonal traffic fluctuations will be like. Like other local businesses have kind of warned us now that we're going into winter, things are going to slow down. But we don't really know what that means since we've only been open for 5 weeks. We don't have a good benchmark for that. So I think kind of stabilizing and figuring out kind of what hours people want to come to the cidery. Should we expand those? We're doing an experiment this week where we're partnering with a food truck, and we're going to have kind of long hours on Saturday and serve a brunch. So I think we're still at the step where we're just exploring all the possibilities.
Yeah, innovate new partnerships with other places around, new exciting ciders and stuff like that would be cool things to offer.
Yeah, I think eventually, like right now we're selling all of our cider in-house, but it would be nice to eventually distribute and sell some to other bars and restaurants around town, and then that could kind of spread the word, or when we're out and about, it could be fun to see our cider on tap somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of something we're looking to do maybe once we have 1 year of business under our belt.
I saw the events on Facebook. That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
I wish I could be there. I'll be out of town. I was like, oh, of course.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll keep doing it. He said he used to do the brunch at Cardinal Spirits before they got a kitchen, and so
That was every week, right?
yeah, it was every week, both weekend days he would do it there. And then we reached out to him because we know they opened the kitchen and he hasn't been able to be stationed there. And he was like, okay, we'll give it a try, but if it works, we might give it more tries.
Yeah, so hopefully that'll be a regular thing and we can keep having more fun stuff.
Yeah. We've got a lot of ideas for other collaborations coming up with different businesses in town, things to infuse the cider with or events we can have. So I think since we're still so new, we don't even have a good sense of everything that's possible. So that really excites me, is just kind of seeing all the different connections we can make and meeting different people who are excited about our product and partnering with us.
Sure, we start with apples, and you press them, which first you smash them up into little pieces, almost like a coarse applesauce, and then we stack those up in like cheesecloth, and those are called racks, and then you stack up 6 or 7 racks at a time, and then push it under a hydraulic press arm, and then that comes down and presses all the liquid out of the mash, and then we collect that, and that's the stuff that you buy in the grocery store, the fresh cider. And then from there, we treat it with a little bit of sulfites to kill off any naturally occurring bacteria and nasty stuff that might get in there. And then that sort of neutralizes it, gives us sort of a blank palate to create the cider with. And then you start by putting yeast in it to ferment it. And depending on what kind of yeast you use, it'll ferment in different ways and give you different flavors and attributes of the cider. And so some of them we put our own yeast into that we select based on what we want it to taste like. And then we've also done some wild ferments where we just don't add any sulfites to it. We don't do anything to it. We just let it sit and see what happens. And that's sort of the most traditional way, the easiest way of doing it. But you get kind of crazier results sometimes. So we've had really good luck with that, and it's been really popular so far, but I'm sure eventually we're going to get something that's pretty weird. And then after you ferment it, it ferments in one container, and then you move everything to another container, because as the yeast go through the fermentation process, they produce alcohol, and then they eventually die off and sort of create a slurry of stuff, dead yeast cells and waste and solids. So we transfer the liquid off of that to improve flavor and improve like the clarity, because when you buy the cider, it's all cloudy. So as it ages, all that cloudiness, the stuff that causes it, settles out to the bottom. So we take it off all the solids that settle out and then move it into another container to age, and it'll clarify even more. And it'll go through potentially more fermentations to change the flavor a little bit more. And just as it ages, it enhances the flavor and changes it in different ways that we find it pretty good. To ferment it, it takes about a week or two. And then we like to age it for ideally 3 months, but with the kind of turnaround that we're having here, a lot of the stuff we've been aging for about a month. And the longer you age it, sort of the more wine-like it tastes. That when it first comes out, it's still got a lot of like the fruity flavors, but then the more it ages, the more those sort of mature into more full-bodied wine-like flavors. And like the first weekend that we were in business, we sold everything that we'd blended up. So the step I didn't tell you about, after we age it, then we flavor it. So that's when we add any kind of cinnamon or hops, or if we want to make it sweeter, we'll add back additional honey or sugar or other sweeteners into it. So we blend it up in smaller batches and we age it in large batches. So moving it from the jumbo aging batches to the serving kegs is the sort of the bottleneck in the operation for us right now. So we can only store for serving as much as we can store in our refrigerators, basically. And all that happens in 5-gallon containers. So to start our first weekend, we had 10 of those, so 50 gallons made up and blended. And then we sold out of that entirely in that one weekend. And then since then, we've been doing a little bit less. It's usually, I think, about 30 gallons a week that we go through on a typical week. So then what we sell during the weekend, then we mix up again the next week, clean the keg and fill it up with something else.